3 Saturdays off
Yeah.
and 1 on. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I was just telling Melissa that I I thought I would take somewhat of a break from the show for the summer, and God has schooled me in that that's not really what I'm supposed to do because I felt so disjointed this week from not doing the show. I had a not a great week because I just didn't feel like myself, which is interesting. So the show goes on, and maybe
Yes.
we'll take a Saturday off here and there for the summer, but it'll be here for you guys. And if you can catch it, that's great. And if you can't, that's okay. You can catch the recording. Um, okay. So I was also just telling Melissa that I developed a 6-session prosperity course called Unbreakable Prosperity that I'm going to teach live, and I'm going to launch that probably later today on all the pages. I'm just fine tuning it. So some people think about taking the summer off, but I disagree.
I do.
So I think why would you stop learning and stop like pushing and stop doing all the things? So we'll do one session in July. It mostly will run in June. And then, there'll be one session on July 1st, and then it will take then there will be, so it'll be 6 sessions between May 27th and July 1st, so that people that do vacation or go away or whatever. Okay, so that's what Melissa and I were talking about before we got here. So Melissa's back with me, and I'm so happy. And I'm going to see her for lunch in like a week and a half.
I
So I'm
know.
excited about that.
I know.
Um, yeah, I'm going back to York Beach, and I'm actually doing a VIP day in person for a client. So that's something new that I'm starting to do. And I think I'm going to start inviting people to come up here and work with me, as a VIP experience for a couple of days. We have a beautiful property here on 2 acres of land. Um, so I think that I'm learning that my best use is one-on-one with people, or in a live experience in person, or in a live experience on a Zoom. So that's been something that I've been learning over the last several months. All right. So Melissa, how are you? I didn't even have a chance to ask you.
It's all right. I am so good. I'm so happy to be here again. I love being on this show with you because the conversations are so rich and real and needed and like raw. And
Yeah.
even if I don't have all the answers, I think it's just amazing to hold the space to have
Right.
these conversations. But before we get started, I want all the listeners to know that I got to meet Noelle in person. She had her VIP luncheon, and I was honored to be an attendee. And I just have to say that room, Noelle, was something incredible. And I've been in a lot of rooms. The care that you have for the people that you love is unbelievable. Like you can just feel it from you. So I applaud you for that. And
Thank
anybody who
you.
has a
You're gonna make
chance,
me cry.
I know I have goosebumps. Like anybody who has the chance to work with you and be with you, like it is so real and authentic, and the care that you have in the work that you're doing, people who are working with you, like that is such a privilege. So I am so excited for your VIP offerings. I think those are they're actually invaluable to anybody working with you. So the more I get to know you, the more I get to see you and what you're doing here. So I just want to applaud you as
Thank you.
well
She's
for
making me cry, you
I
guys,
know.
so early in the morning.
I know.
I did not know she was gonna do that, so
I
I don't
didn't
know.
either, but
Thank
I,
you.
like I don't know, there's something really special about the work that you're doing, and the fact that like you can't you're going to miss the show, and that you're like I need to do this. You're doing it for
Yeah, I
everybody.
didn't feel right. You can ask
Yeah.
John. I just moped around here all week. Like there
Yeah.
was something very wrong, and I got very like depressed, and I realized like I'm just supposed to
Yes.
teach.
Yeah.
It's part of like I've been doing it for 12 years. I've been teaching since I was 19, also like prosperity principles and all the things. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not something I can take a break from because it actually it's woven into the
Who you
fabric of
are.
like who I am as a
It
person. Yeah.
it's who you are. So I think you're not pretending, right? You're not
Yeah,
saying
no,
that you have all these
definitely not.
credentials because there are some folks out there, but no, you're the real deal. So I just wanted to thank you and applaud you
Thank
for the
you.
work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. And I think you're right. I think the VIP stuff is probably going to be the future of my work, and
Yeah.
live class experiences. Okay, so we came to talk about courage. Um, and we came to talk about courage in a couple of different ways. Melissa and I have noticed that sometimes people seem to think that courage is the absence of being afraid or being uncertain or all the things, right? Like you want a different life or you want to show up in a stronger way, or you want to go and meet new people, because Melissa and I are always talking about connection and community,
Yep.
and you want to do whatever, and then you have all this stuff that comes up you know in the way of doing it, and that is part of courage.
Right.
Part of courage is is all the stuff that comes up and gets in the way, and then courage is like pushing forward and going after the thing anyway. So it's not the absence of fear, it is actually holding all the chatter and the terror and the fear and the cold feet and all of the things, and stepping out anyhow. And
Yes.
Melissa's going to jump into the how action, like, because that's one of her big things is action. It's actually both of us, but she's great at talking about it. um that's the thing. So first of all, let's just deconstruct courage for you guys. Okay, so stop thinking that courage means that you are not afraid or not anxious or not worry, like all the things. It doesn't mean that. Courage is something different. Courage is actually a verb, in my opinion.
Mm.
Courage is a verb. It's not an adjective. It's not something to describe something. Courage is actually like a movement, a thing.
Oh, 100%. Like, let's rewrite that in the dictionary. Like,
Right? We're gonna have Melissa Noel's dictionary of words. We have different definitions.
we could do that. Let's do that.
Right?
Yeah.
We can add it to our to a book. Melissa
Yeah.
and I are actually working on a book of our conversation, so that's going to come out probably in the fall, early late summer, early fall. So stay
Oh,
tuned on that.
yeah. We're gonna have our own dictionary in the back. Like, these are what these
Right?
words actually and really mean, right?
Right.
So I have a simple equation. I'm so visual. I love like simplicity and clarity.
Yep.
So my equation, it will always be courage plus action equals confidence.
Okay.
Like that
I
is,
like that.
that equation, right? So
Yep.
like you had said, action is where it happens. Like when you're in action, that's where you start to get your confidence from doing the thing. I'll give an example. I mean, this was so scary in my business like journey is when I gave
Yep.
my notice to my boss to
Right.
end my career, right? So I for those of you that don't know, I had a 20-year career in the insurance world, and WBL was born alongside of my career. And when I had that courage, right? Like
Yep.
to actually walk into my boss's office and say, this is it. Like, I'm leaving my career because I'm going to go all in on WBL. Now, I was so scared. There was so much fear there. The fear was real. Like, it almost stopped me. And I kept thinking, gosh, should I do this? I got all up in my head. But then I already had the answer, right? Like
Right.
I knew that, yes. And I had already left in my mind. I just physically had to take the action to do it. Right. And
Right.
then I still didn't know what I was doing. But that's where the
We
confidence
never
came
we
in.
never do.
Yeah, I had no clue. Like, but that's where I gained the confidence by
Right.
putting myself into action. And, I said, I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm going to figure it out. But if I didn't take
And
that,
you did, right? And you
yeah,
are, and you will. And it's like that's part of the thing, right? I think like I made a little video, I think it was a week ago or so about, holding failure and success together. And I said something about this to you before we got on here. But it's like holding the so fear, I mean, failure is that's part of part of Melissa's equation,
yeah,
right? It's like an add-on because there's not going to be a time where you're not afraid to fail. There's not going to be a time where you know all the pieces. Like these things are just not going to happen. There's not going to be a right time. There's not going to be like none of that. For me, I've had the courage when it's come to like retiring the corporate clients, and 10 years ago I retired the other set of corporate clients and then took another. But I think the biggest thing for me was when I was in a marriage that was not working, and I just took Antonio and moved to the South in Tennessee when all my family and I took an opportunity to build some companies on the founding team. And I didn't know anyone there.
yeah.
I had
See?
no family there. I had I had an avenue for work, but that was it. And I can remember, putting him to bed at night. I raised Antonio alone for 18 years. John, and you all know I'm married to John now.
Yeah,
It'll be 7 years this year. Um, but I raised Antonio alone with no child support because I wanted to leave and take him. And so I just made an agreement that I wouldn't take any support because I just wanted to do with him what I wanted to do. And my ex-husband, he's a good guy. It just wasn't a good situation for us. And so, I would put Antonio to bed, and then I would go in my room and I would cry,
mm,
and I would just lay there absolutely like terrified and almost unable to breathe because I had no effing idea
yeah.
how I was going to make anything work. I had no idea. And I feel like I had no idea most of the 18 years.
That's
People would say to me, like, oh my God, Noelle, you built this, you did this. Like, I came back from a bankruptcy that I had to file when he was little, and that's a whole nother story. Like, but I had nothing. I had feel like less than nothing. And yeah, I was terrified. And every day I just got up and did the thing. To your point, I just
right.
stayed in action because and what I tell people, I just did the next thing in front of me, like
That's
the
right.
very next thing, because I couldn't see the five things in front of that. I had no clue.
No clue.
And
Yeah.
people used to say to me, because you go look at my brand or look at me online, you see all these things, and people are like, "Oh my God, blah blah blah." It's like, oh, dude, you have no idea. Like I just white knuckled it like the
That,
whole time. I
yeah.
mean, I wrote books, I did the show, I did all these things, but people would say, "How do you do that?" I have no, I just did the next thing. Like every day it was just the next thing. If it was like make the kids lunch, I made the kids lunch. I drove him to school every morning. Like whatever it was, I just did it.
But you
And
stayed
then,
in action. Like that
yeah,
action got you to where you are today,
right,
because there's a lot of folks that probably have the courage, but then the action never happens, right? So then the
right.
confidence doesn't follow and the thing doesn't go anywhere. So I really do think that equation is so important. But if you think of that equation again, if you go courage plus action equals confidence,
Yeah,
courage is the bridge to confidence. So if you kind of like make an arrow from courage to confidence,
yeah,
on that arc is hard, scared, fear.
yeah,
I was writing down all the words you said, terrified.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Right, right, right,
that all comes with it. It is
right,
hard. And we were talking about that before the show went live this morning. Like it's hard. If you want this thing and you have no clue like even how to get there, it's going to be a hard road. Like we're not here to sugarcoat this at all.
right, 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 right.
Action is hard.
And so I think that bridge that you're talking about,
Yeah,
right? Like that's like people think that they're going to go from from here to here, and somehow somebody told them, or they thought it was going to be easy. So therefore, when it is hard, when they are white knuckling or they are afraid or all, they think there's something wrong with that.
that's
And
right.
that's what Melissa and I are trying to like deconstruct this for you, because that white knuckling, the fear, the unable to breathe, the pant, like all the things, it's part of it. It's part of it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's
The
right.
thing that you have to do in there is get yourself the right support system, make sure you have the right tools, surround yourself with the right
Right.
people, that have already gone over that bridge. And by the way, you guys, like that whole thing happens over and over, because you can ask my husband, this week it was happening to me in regard to my business right now. Like because I'm like looking at how I was working, and I'm seeing that I need to teach more prosperity, and I'm trying to figure out how that, what, like all the things. But it was very similar. What happens is it's never as bad as the first time. So the first time you cross the bridge, you get through that. And then all the next times that you cross the bridge in the rest of the decades that you live on this planet, it is still hard, but it's not as hard. So like every time you cross the bridge, it's less terrifying. The white knuckling is shorter. The spiral of fear is less. It never goes away though, because like a lot of my clients are like, when do I get to the place where it's all just like roses and tulips
Yeah,
and what? No, dude, it's not happening. There's not, if you're going to keep elevating, not
that's
if you're
right.
going to keep growing as a human being.
So there's
Because the
another bridge.
bridge,
There's
right? Yeah,
another,
the bridge keeps coming.
yeah. I love this analogy. Like, I love there's always going to be that bridge, the next bridge, right?
Right,
Um,
right, right.
but I wonder, like, I'd love to unpack this with you. Like, is courage and confidence a muscle? Is it something that gets
I think
better or
so.
easier the more
I
you
think
do it?
so.
Yeah, like
I think it's like I said, I think it's a verb. I think it's an action, right? That needs to be practiced, and that the
practice.
more you practice it, the better you get at it. And I love to, like, when you said the bridge keeps going on, I always tell people, like, when you unravel a slinky and you pull it up like this, right? Because it goes around and up and around and up and
Ah,
around and up. And so I tell people, like, this is how we are cyclical, and things go, you start at the bottom of the slinky, which is really effing hard and sucks big time, and then you go around that first time and you're like, okay, and then the next time is like a little easy, and by the time you're like at the middle of the slinky, you're kind of like, all right, like this week I was feeling afraid and all effed up and all the things, was like, I've seen this before. What
right.
do I need to do? Grab my affirmations. I went to the library, got a couple novels. I tried to stay out of my head. I got the message that not doing the show was not the thing. Okay, I couldn't fix that until this morning. So it's like, all right. But I wasn't on the floor,
And it
unable to get
didn't
out of
break
bed.
you.
Right,
Right.
right,
It didn't
exactly. And
break
it
you.
never has broken me, but it has, but it'll bend you, man, way down to the ground,
There are some
you
people,
know?
yeah, there are some people that break, like unbreakable wisdom. Like
Yeah,
we do have to have that muscle to be unbreakable, right?
yeah, yeah,
When these things arise and these situations happen. But you know what else I was really thinking about, before I got on with you today is that, so now we think it's a muscle, right? We know that the more we practice it, confidence, action,
right,
courage, all of these words. I've been doing a lot of work with young professionals, and I said to them, I spoke at a college in their entrepreneurial class, and I said to them, you know what? You don't always have to have it all figured out. And
right,
if courage and confidence isn't something that you have right now, you can borrow somebody
right.
else's confidence. I was like, you can borrow my confidence. And I
Yeah,
saw their shoulders go, and they like exhaled, right? It's almost like I
Awesome.
gave them permission, and I was
Yeah.
like, that could look like you walking into a big networking event with me. You know,
Right.
you're borrowing my confidence to walk through those doors, whereas
Yeah.
alone, you might not have ever walked through those doors. So I also want to give permission to those listening that you can borrow other people's confidence in any
Yeah.
way possible. Like working with Noelle in a VIP session, part of that is borrowing some of her wisdom, knowledge, and confidence to do the next thing, to put you into action, to get you over that bridge. Right. So if you have the courage to say, yes, I need to work with Noelle, she's going to get me over that bridge, you know? So
Yeah.
there are these moments in life that we do need to borrow somebody else's confidence. And I want to make that possible for everybody.
Yeah, and make it okay. Because, like, for
Okay.
instance, if you're afraid to network, you could borrow Melissa's confidence. You could go meet, if you're in New England. Well, actually, she's New England, Florida. There's WBL is all the way down,
Yep.
Atlanta, North Carolina.
Yep.
And also, we're online, Women's Business League. We're online. And
Right.
you can come to our Monday morning meetings.
That's a
And
good
so
one.
come to you can come to a networking meeting online in Women's Business League. Sorry for the guys, but this is all we have right now to offer is Women's Business League or working with one of us one on one. That's all we got for the guys. But you could, you can see how people interact and collaborate and connect. And then you can, have them show you and you can borrow their confidence.
Right.
You can borrow their super connector ability, you know?
Whatever it is you need. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I want to make that okay. It's not making you any weaker. It's actually smart, right? So if you see somebody out there, like for instance, an example for me is, speaking. It's not really something that I want to do. You know, it's not on my bucket list of things to do or write a book
right.
that's me, but I will borrow other people's confidence, advice, knowledge, and soak that in
Yeah,
to be able to do the thing, right? To be able to stand
yeah,
behind a microphone. And that doesn't make anybody weak. That actually makes you better, smart,
right,
right? You're
right,
seeking out other people's knowledge and confidence to elevate you to that next level, to get you over that bridge, right?
right.
Because there's potholes all over the bridge, right? So it's like,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I don't want anybody to get stuck in a pothole. It's awful.
Yep. No, potholes for sure. Um, yeah, so you guys, we'll continue this conversation because this is like the whole courage thing is something that is not just a one shot half hour convo, but we wanted to open up the can on this because we're seeing Melissa and I both, we're seeing a lot of the old constructs that have been taught, like how people are handling their lives, their businesses, whatever. Like there's old methodology and old constructs. And then there's like all this new stuff coming in with AI and all this kind of stuff. And so we actually believe that there's a hybrid version between, taking all new things that are working and taking old things that worked and have always worked, right? And marrying together like this new kind of path
Yeah,
forward, So, in the old days when Melissa and I were growing up, you had, our grandparents and parents showed us how to just push through. Like no matter, like you just did the thing. It
right.
didn't matter if your arm was falling off or if you couldn't breathe or you weren't sleeping or eating or drinking water. Like nobody cared. You just got the
Yeah,
thing done. And now over here, we see some of the younger people that are like, if they, have a headache, they cancel their appointment, or if they like whatever. It's a very over here we have like super hard and concrete and balls to the wall, and over here we have like and some in the middle is actually what works because these people have to borrow, to use Melissa's analogy. They have to borrow the balls to the wall. And these people over here have to borrow the taking care of yourself and recognizing how
Right.
your body feels, how your energy feels, and all the things, right? Because, my mom actually passed away much sooner than she planned because she was all this and none of this. So she actually passed away from being way overweight and illnesses that came from that because she didn't ever stop to see how she felt and take care of that. All she did was push through like a SOB, slamming and she was great at that, but she wasn't great at taking care for her person, right? For herself. So thankfully, that was a valuable lesson for me
For
and
you.
one that I'm able to share with my 25-year-old son, who, my son and I have adopted a lot of the balls to the wall. Who cares if you eat? I mean, I'm famous for sitting at this desk for like 10 hours and people are asking, my husband's like, did you eat? And I'm like, what? No, what are you talking about? So, borrowing is great, right? We want to borrow from the generations, right? So that we end up layering in this new way of being courageous and fearless and engaging and communicative, you know, and and that's a much longer conversation than we're going to have, time for this morning. But Melissa and I will continue to talk about this, and we're also interested in like, what are you seeing?
Yeah.
Where are the places that fear stop you or lack of courage stops you? And you can certainly email me and I'll share them with Melissa. But we'd love to, or you can comment here and we'll check it out later because
I
I
know
know a
the
lot of you
comment,
watch the show.
the thread's going crazy and I can't read it. I don't have my glasses on,
It's
but like
mostly my husband.
it's going, yeah, I'm like, it's going
It's
crazy.
mostly John. It's saying
It's
all
Gus.
kinds of
Hi,
different
Gus.
things. Yep, Gus is there. Thank God for John watching the show, right? That's the other problem. When I skip shows, the show takes a hit, if
Oh,
I'm not.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like it takes everybody realizes later on that we were alive and they're like, oh my God, and then they watch it. But let's see. So we're always wanting to give you some kind of action for the week ahead. So let's just wrap this up a little for you. So this morning we've been talking about courage, and we're talking about how courage is not the absence of fear, right? Courage is not the courage is not that you won't have all of these things. Courage means that you take action anyway, that you're going to move forward anyway. And Melissa will review her. She has a great bridge analogy. So I'll let her wrap us up with just reviewing that for you again, right? Because courage is a muscle, we believe, that is actually, when exercised, grows stronger. So the more that you can get yourself out there and borrow someone else's courage if you need to. So Melissa, what's that bridge like that again?
Yeah, so if you all, grab a pen and write this down so that you have it, but courage plus action equals confidence. And then I want you to draw an arrow from courage over to the confidence line. And on that bridge, is what we're calling it, is all of your words that come up for you, right? So when I was listening to Noelle talk about her story, she threw out words like terrified, fear, hard, scared. So those are like your bridge words, and maybe those are your potholes and things that you really have to start to think about. But that's where you can start to borrow other people's confidence or be around other people that help you get over that bridge, right? Into that confidence piece. But I think my biggest takeaway from today is that you have to remain in action. As
Yes.
afraid or scared or hard it is, action is going to be that solution to pull you forward. Inaction, if you do nothing, you'll hear us say this every show. If you do nothing, nothing will
Nothing
happen.
happens.
So, there's that. So think on that for a minute.
And action, Chris Robinson, who's one of my John Maxwell mentors, he's a trainer there for John Maxwell, and he says action is your ally against fear. And I loved that so much that I
True.
wrote it on a sticky and it's on my
Yeah.
computer. And every time I feel afraid or stuck, I just think about that and then I
Yeah.
go do something. I think about
Yes.
what I can go do and what I can get in action about. And to your point about the potholes, we live on a private dirt road in Vermont. So we have a lot of potholes when they just graded the road yesterday. So it's in good shape at the moment. Thank you, Joey, for that. But when there are potholes, we navigate them, right? We don't go barreling down the road at 60 miles an
Right.
hour into the pothole because it'll screw up your suspension
Yeah.
and screw with your tires, right? So when you live in Vermont, there are actually a lot of dirt roads. So we have a lot of potholes. So we
Oh.
get really good at navigating the potholes,
But you're white
right?
knuckling it still, right? But you're
Right?
still going forward,
But
right?
yeah, and you're still like, and lots of times we'll start down a road and John and I will go, oh shit, we shouldn't have taken this road because it hasn't been graded in a while, right? But you do the best you
You do
can.
the best you can.
You know, you slow down and you watch what's happening and you work to avoid
Yeah.
damage. And that's like the same thing in your life, right?
Yeah. I have one more reference, which I think might land for some of the viewers, is that, this reference of this bridge. Now, I am not afraid of heights or anything, right? So my family, my husband and I, we were driving from north to, I think we were going to the Carolinas or whatnot. I had my kids in the car. We went over this bridge, Noelle. It was probably the longest bridge I've ever been on, the highest, and I forget the name of it, right? The highest bridge, and it had no Jersey barriers on it. Like it
Oh
literally
my
had
God.
no guardrails, right? Like it was like this little guardrail, and I'm like, what is actually happening? And the lanes are like this. I
I would have
was
been out of my mind.
terrified. I literally was sitting in the center console, like if I leaned over, like the thing would go away.
Like,
But I mean, whoa, the fear and the terror in that moment was real. So I really would love for everybody to have those Jersey barriers, those guardrails. Like those
yeah,
guardrails keep you from really going off the rail,
right.
right? So, you know, a
And
guardrail,
those are your like support, right? Like
that's right.
that's your support, that's your tools,
That's
right?
all of this. Yep. The guardrails
Yeah,
keep you in action in the right way. So without those guardrails, that fear, that terror is always going to be there. So that's why you have to
right.
surround yourself with like your A team, right? Whether it be a
Yeah,
community, it's your family that, believes in you and saying, and courage is really, it's not loud. Courage is not loud at all. It's
right.
quiet, but you need some of that encouragement.
Yeah.
Oh, encouragement has courage in
Encouragement.
it.
Yep.
There comes another
Yep.
definition in our dictionary.
Right. Here comes another word for our dictionary. And also, like you were saying, when you're going, and yes, you guys, I know what time it is.
Oh,
As we're going on one of those bridges, because I've been on one of those, driving by myself and absolutely effing terrified
terrified.
out of my wits. And the only thing that you can do when you're in that situation is go forward.
It-
That's the other thing about that, right? It's the only thing you can do is keep going forward,
so
right?
true.
And since it's Mother's Day, the other thing that I will just finish up, the other analogy there is when you're in labor and it's awful and it hurts like a mofo, like there's no going back, kids. Like there's only the kids got to get out. There's only forward. My labor was 32 hours and it was horrible. It's probably why I only had one child. I would vomit into a bucket and then I would push and then I would vomit and I was so, so awful. But like there was a point there where the doctor was like, if you don't, we're gonna have to. I'm like, no one's cutting me open, man. I'm
Oh,
getting this kid out. Like, back off. And I just was like determined, and it got done. But like in those moments where you are in the middle of the thing and you are white knuckle terrified, there is no forward is the only way. Action is the only way. Taking the next step is the only way. Um, and so,
So
what will
good.
be their homework for the week if they want it?
I don't know. For me, I want you to write your equation. Like I want you to sit with this and I want you to make that bridge. Like
Okay.
what is that bridge? Because that is gonna tell you, the support that you need, whether, it's just eye opening to you to be able to sit with that. But I don't know, Noelle, if you give them like,
So look at okay, so do what Melissa said, write the bridge down. And if you have to go back and replay the show to hear her analogy again, do that. And the good news for you guys is it's recorded so you can do that. But then pick an area
yeah,
of your life
yeah,
where you are facing this right now, where you are requiring courage, where you are requiring to get from point A to point B. And then, like Melissa said, look at all the potholes,
yeah, the
all the
pot.
areas,
Yep.
right? And decide what kind of support you need
Yes,
to navigate through the potholes.
that's right.
Um, Somebody says, I was on a hiking trail like this and I almost just sat down, but I would have gotten stuck. So I just started running and I got over it much faster. Yay. That's amazing. And that's it, right? This person stayed in action. They were on the hiking trail and it was awful. And my friend, Allie
Yes.
Hall,
Yeah.
she went to Utah. I don't know if you've talked to her since, but
I
she
haven't.
took a trip to Utah and her brother is a hiker and he decided that they should all go on this thing and she was hiking. She's not a hiker. She was hiking like the trail was like this big and the drop off was solid. It was like the highest point wherever they were. It was like she had no idea. She thought they were just like go for like a hike in the woods type thing and they ended. She was terrified, but like
Yeah.
the only way out is through. That's,
Yeah.
Rumi has a quote that's like the only way out, what cures the pain is in the pain. The only way out is through.
I have
So
one of
these
those
are,
stories. I have an exact story about a hike in a mountain. I know we're out of
go
time, but
ahead. If they don't want to watch, they can kill it.
maybe it'll land in the book. But I'm telling you, it's same exact story as Allie, and I ended up getting to the top. I actually have a picture of me getting to the top. It was brutal, but it was such a life-changing moment. And in that moment, I didn't see it, but now I think about that story,
Yeah,
and that is one of those life-defining moments that will always stay with me.
right.
Um, yeah, it's incredible. Like, oh, I want to write a book about that experience.
So you guys, there are moments in your life where the fear is going to choke you out. Like you are going to be like fear feel immobilized by the terror and the fear and the angst and all of that. And in those moments, like Melissa says, those are your life defining moments. Those are the moments where you draw a line in the sand and you say, no, I'm going forward. I'm going to do this. I'm
Yeah,
going to make this happen. I'm going to get on that stage. I'm going to push this baby out. I'm going to get up this trail. I'm going to go for it and start my own business, like whatever the thing is. And so what we want you to do is figure out, I feel like we all have these moments in our lives all the time. Sometimes they're much more poignant than others. So go back and listen to the show again, draw Melissa's bridge out and write down, for the experience in your life right now where you're wanting to
yeah,
go, where you're afraid and you're wanting to gain courage and you're wanting to go over here, right? Look at what the potholes are for you and figure out what kind of support you want
right.
or need, and then make it your job to get it for yourself, right? So that you can get the encouragement that you need to face the thing that you're most afraid to face.
Yes.
And remember that action is your ally against fear.
So good.
All right. So we wish you, all our moms and dads who are pulling double duty, we wish you the best Mother's Day ever. And we know how much courage it takes to parent humans. That's a whole nother show. That's probably a year's worth of shows.
Whew.
All right, you guys, Melissa and I are actually going to be together. I'll do the show next Saturday morning, and then Melissa and I are going to be together for lunch that following week. So we'll probably do a little live
Oh,
video hit.
yeah, let's do that.
Probably won't be in this little frame, but we'll just go live from my phone when we're together because we'll be together in York Beach.
Can't
And
wait.
maybe we'll show you a little bit of Neville Lighthouse in our background. Okay, you guys have a great week, and I'll be here next Saturday morning, and she's welcome to join me whenever she wants, so she'll be back as well.
I love it.
All
Thank
right,
you,
have a
everyone.
great week. Okay, we're out.